Hi everyone, my name is Indra and I am here to show you how to complete a specific kind of logic puzzle. This one is called a nonogram, but you might have seen it listed as logic art or puzzle art or wet paint by number. There's a lot of different names for it in different places, but it's a really fun puzzle, and so I hope that I can be helpful in kind of teaching you how it works. So today you'll see just a basic puzzle right here that I'm going to help you complete to kind of illustrate what the rules are and what this is all about. The idea is that once you complete this puzzle, there's a photo, or not a photo, but a graphic that shows up that is kind of fun and a nice way to end the puzzle to see what the picture is. So just some of the basic rules about nonograms or logic art is that these numbers here signify the actual darkened spaces that will be on this line. So for instance, in this first column we see here, this 2 signifies that there are going to be 2 dots of black next to each other at some point on this 5-space continuum. We don't know where that is yet, so it's our job to kind of use process of elimination and logic to figure that out. So that's for that line. For this line, you'll see that there's 2 numbers, and there's a 2 and a 1. So that means there's going to be a block of 2 and a block of 1. And the only rule here is that these 2 can be anywhere on here, but 2 needs to come before 1. And there needs to be at least one blank space in between 2 and 1. So, that could mean 2 here, 1 here, 1 could go over here, 2 could go here, and 1 could go here. There's a lot of different options here, and again, we're going to use logic to figure that out. And the same rules apply for going down as well. So here, in this 10-space line, you'll have 2 spaces with 1 somewhere along here. The only rule is that there has to be at least 1 blank space in between the 2 and 1 blocks. So the other thing about this particular program is that the darkened spaces show where you're sure that something needs to be filled in. These little X spaces mean that you know that area is supposed to be blank. And when it's just clear like that, it probably means you're not quite sure yet, you're still figuring it out. It's a useful way to kind of use process of elimination to figure out what goes where. So when I start a project or a puzzle like this, I usually try and look for the largest numbers first because it's usually easier to figure out where things definitely have to be by using the largest numbers, and I'll show that to you now. So if I look at all the numbers on here, obviously the largest number I see here is the number 7. And that means that on this column there is a group of 7 dark blocks somewhere along here. So how do we figure out where those go? They could go anywhere. What I like to do is kind of think about it like, well, what is the farthest that they could be to the top? So they could go like this, and that makes sense, right? But they could also go like this, or like this, or like that. And I have no way of knowing, so I need to figure that out. So again, we'll kind of look at it this way. From here we know that there has to be, if they all are the farthest they are to the top, this is where they would have to be. Now, I'm just going to use this next one to signify from the bottom. If they were all going to be to the farthest on the bottom, then they would go up to here. And as you can see, they overlap here in these 4, which means that these 4 spaces are definitely going to have to be filled in no matter where this block of 7 is. And so I can know with certainty that those are going to be filled in, and I can leave those there. and start my puzzle from that point. Now I have some filled in space here. I know these definitely have to be darkened, so maybe that will help me figure out where other things on the puzzle go. So next, I look here. So there's a block of 3 somewhere on this. And right now, I don't really have enough information to figure out where that will go. It could be these 3, or these 3. And again, since 3 is the only thing on here, I don't really know where that goes yet. So I'm just going to leave that alone. But if I go to these next 2 lines, I see, okay, there's a block of 1 and there's another block of 1. And I remember my rule that between each one of these there has to be at least 1 empty space. So looking at this line, here's a block of 1. Okay, so I know that that's the only option here. There can only be a block of 1. And I know that there has to be empty space between this block of 1 and another block of 1. So I know that there needs to be blank space around this specific block. And so I'm going to mark that in with these little X's. Now I'm not sure if this block of 1 is the second block of 1 or the first block of 1. I don't have enough information to figure that out yet, so I'm going to leave that one. So this line below it, as you can see, is the same as this. Same rules apply, so I'm just going to put this in here. Now I know that for sure as well. And here, with this last filled in line, there's a block of 2 somewhere. So one of those blocks of the block of 2 has been filled in for me, which means that either the block of 2 goes there or it goes there. But it's not possible for this to be filled in or this. So I'm going to make those X's. I know those have to be blank spaces. I'm not sure yet, though, whether this needs to be a darkened block or that one. So I'll need some more information. Okay, so I have some more information here now. I have an idea of where the negative space is on this block, which is really helpful. Especially, I'm going to look at this line. So in this line, there's 3 numbers, which means that there's a block of 2, a block of 1, and a block of 3, and they all need to be separated by at least 1 space. So, using kind of logic and thinking about it, the block of 3 has to be last, and 2 and 1 need to precede it with spaces, at least 1 space in between here and 1 space in between here. So if I look at this top part here, I know these are blank. Could this be a block of 3? And the answer is no, because a block of 1 I need at least 1 blank space, and then 1, and then 2, and obviously that goes off of the grid. So I know that these spaces, or the blocks of 3, will not fit here, and that they have to be down here somewhere. And now similarly, if I put 3 at the very bottom, I also see that the block of 1, I need at least 1 space in between this and the next one, and if I put a space there, that means that the block of 1 has to go above these 2 that I know are there. So I know now that in this block of 4, there will only be the block of 3. This block of 3 can only fit here. And so since I know that, I'm going to think about it the same way that I kind of thought about this 7 up and down. That, okay, in this block of 4, it can be 3 here, or it can be 3 here. And that means that these 2 middle blocks have to be filled in. No matter what I end up choosing, these 2 will definitely be filled in. So I can leave that knowing that, okay, that's definitely going to be the case. Now, above the line, I know that I have a 2 and a 1 left above these 2 blank spaces. And as you can see, there's actually only one option for that. It would have to be 2 dark spaces, 1 blank space, and then 1 dark space for that to work. So I have filled that in now, and I'm really confident about that. I still am not sure where this last block for this block of 3 will go, but that should become clear a little bit later. And so you just kind of keep going like that throughout the puzzle. In this top line, there's a block of 2. I know it can only be attached here, so I know these are going to be blank. Let's see what else I know. these I just filled in, so blocks of 1. These are only blocks of 1. I know they have to have negative space around them, so I will do that. This is 1 and 2, but there's no way this could be a block of 2 with a 1 preceding it. There's not enough space for that. So I know this is going to be block 1, and it needs space around it. And I know that there's a block of 2 afterwards, and there's only 2 spaces left, so I know those are definitely filled in. And, you know, as you can see, it's just quickly filling up. I'm getting more and more of the information that I need to complete this puzzle. Here, again, you know, there's a block of 1 and a block of 3. And from here, in this bottom area below these blank spaces, there's only room for a block of 3. And up here, if I put the block of 3, there wouldn't be room for the block of 1. So I know 3 goes down here. And there's only 4 spaces, so I know these 2 middle ones need to be fit, just how we figured out on this side. I don't know where the 1 goes up here yet, so I'll just leave that alone. Here, now that I've filled that in, I see 1 and 1, so 1 and 1, so that line is finished. Here is 2 and 1. This 1 has to be the bottom one. It can't be 2 because there's not enough space, so that's definitely blank. Let's see, what else do I know here? Here, in this line, there's a block of 3. So it could go here or here, but definitely not to here. It wouldn't stretch that far. So I can put in a negative space there. Let's see. So this one is interesting. Oh, okay, now we can go back to this line of 7 where we started. There's 2 negative spaces down here, which means that the 7, this block of 4 that needs to be 7, it can't go down any farther, but it can go up. So if I fill it up there, then that's the 7 that I need, which means this is a blank space. And now in this line, I need a block of 2, and the only possible space is there. So that one's blank. And now in this line, the bottom one is a block of 3. 1, 2, 3, that's the only option for that. And now I filled in this block of 2, so I can make that a negative space as well. And let's see, I'm almost in the home stretch. What are some other things that I know now? So this top line, block of 2, that's it. I have this block of 2 actually. It got filled in for me. So now I can make that a negative space. This line is 2 and 1, so the 2 is filled in here for me, and it needs to have space around it, so I'll do that. And then the 1, there's only one option for that, so I'll put that there. And that helps me out here. I know this 1 is filled in here, so I just need another block of 2, and it's already been started for me. It can't go up, so it'll go down. And the rest of the line will be blank space. In here, I need 2 blocks of 1. I have 1 here. There's only one option for the other. Same here, one option for the other. So, and then in this line, I see 1 and 2, 1 and 2. That's all filled in, so these are blank spaces. This is a block of 3. There's only one option for that. And, oh, it actually told me I completed the puzzle. This is negative space as well. Oops, I'm messing that up. So I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, so as you can see, we have this nice little human person or something here. It's kind of a fun little reward after you finish the puzzle. And it's a fun thing to do. So this is just one website where you can find these, puzzlygame.com. We'll go up here and just look. As you can see, this is probably the most basic kind. You can go up to more squares, larger grids, and more challenging difficulty. It's really addictive. It's really fun. I usually like to print these out and hand color them in. I don't know. I guess I just like coloring. It brings me back to my younger days. So you can try that out. Just Google Nonograms. There are plenty of websites that will help you out in terms of finding new puzzles to solve and figure out. So it's a really relaxing way to unwind and use your brain a little, but not too much. And I hope that you had fun with this tutorial and that you have many more days of logic, art, and nonogramming ahead of you. Okay, bye.